Yes, I must tell you about the few experiences that I had in Bhavanakupa. When I arrived here last evening, Swamiji was gracious and generous enough to immediately invite me into his room, and we had a long talk with him. It was absolutely blissful listening to Swamiji. Like I told you, his mannerisms and his demeanor is so beautiful and charming that he's like a child, and at the same time every word that he speaks of reeks with wisdom which is born out of experience and grace. So as Swamiji was talking to me, he suddenly looked at me, his eyes opened up, and he pointed his finger and he told me, "You must get up at 3 a.m. in the morning and meditate." So that came like quite a shocker, because knowing myself, I have been known to have quite a few shortcomings, and one of the major shortcomings was the fact that for the last 40 years of my life, I simply couldn't bring myself to be awake before 7 or 8 in the morning. And the earliest that I have got up was at 7 o'clock, that too when I had my board exams. So I was wondering to myself, a person who is struggling to wake up at 7 a.m., how is he going to get up at 3 a.m. and meditate for 2 hours like Swamiji asked me to meditate? But I obviously didn't have the courage to tell him that. So I just nodded my head, and the chat ended, and I retreated back into my room, and I set an alarm on my phone, and knowing fully well that that alarm is either going to be snoozed or put off as soon as it starts ringing, because that's what I have done the several hundred times I have set an alarm to wake up in the morning. But something very magical happened. I drifted asleep at probably 10 o'clock, again the earliest that I've gone to sleep, because I had a long journey to come here, and I fell asleep, and after a few hours, I think a few hours might have transpersed because I was deep in sleep, I felt an arm on my shoulders, and I felt a long a black colored arm on my shoulders trying to wake me up, like how a parent gently wakes up a child, like "Ut jao beta," that kind of a thing. And I tried dismissing it, and but it continued, it pursued, like somebody saying, "Okay, wake up, wake up, wake up." And Swamiji asked you to wake up at 3, wake up. That was the thing, okay? So I tried ignoring it for 5 or 10 minutes, it pursued, and I could feel a distinct presence in my room. It was a very divine presence. It was not something scary, or it was not something like scary or shocking. It was a very benign, wonderful, soothing kind of an energy. And this feeling on my shoulder and this voice wouldn't stop until I actually woke up. I woke up and I went and checked my phone, and it was 2:49 a.m. I was startled, because this is the first time in my life that I've actually woken up at this time to sit and meditate. So I was thinking spontaneously, like, okay, what Swamiji told just happened. It just happened. I didn't do it. In fact, I had set my alarm for 5 o'clock, knowing fully well that I cannot wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. But then I was woken up physically 10 minutes before the stipulated time given by Swamiji. So the point I'm trying to make here for all of you is that, especially for the skeptical ones, that there is nothing for you to do over here. Nothing at all. So you don't have to be worried about whether you're strong-willed or weak-willed, whether you have the capacity or whether you have the ability to do something or not, because nothing is actually called for, nothing is required of you other than surrender. You just have to completely surrender the whole concept or ideology of who you think you are to the lotus feet of the Guru, and it has to be unequivocal, it has to be non-ambiguous, it has to be permanent, it has to be complete, it has to be absolute, it has to be total. There should not be any vacillation from your part, there should not be any dilly-dallying and jumping in and out of it, trying to go explore something else. That's another very great mistake that most people do, is that they keep jumping from one scene to another. Swamiji says that if you receive Diksha, and if the Diksha is given through a mantra, you have to hold on to it forever, for eternity. because mantra is like a seed given to you which is put into a fertile soil, and like you all know that the seed doesn't become a sapling or a tree overnight. It has to be tended to, it has to be attended to, it has to be watered, it has to be given adequate sunshine, it has to be given TLC, tender love and care. After all that, the seed sprouts out into a sapling and the sapling becomes a big gigantic tree. Similarly, if you have to experience the effects of the mantra given to you by your guru, you have to stick to it for eternity with all the shraddha, with all the bhakti, with all the bhava. And most importantly, you will have to constantly reiterate this in your mind that you are not the doer. Things are just happening by the divine grace. And when you have this sense of humility, when you have this sense of surrender, magic happens. Yeah, so yes, another thing I wanted to share is that many people have a certain view or a certain idea about who a guru is or what a guru can be. So with my very limited understanding, and obviously I'm being extremely humble over here, and I seek the pardon of the great ones if I'm uttering anything which is irrelevant, but then I just wanted to say that again, Guru is not a person. He or she is not limited to the physical form. Guru is an eternal principle. It is about Guru Tattva. He is all pervading. He is omniscient. He is omnipotent. He is basically the guiding force. He is behind the 5 elements. He is behind everything which is manifested and unmanifested. So when we approach the Guru, the attitude should be of complete surrender and reverence. And my experience in my life is that when I first saw the picture of Bhagwan, Avadhut Nityanandaji Maharaj, I didn't know who he was. But then the moment I saw the picture, there was an overflow of emotions. It was so overwhelming that I just instantly decided to go to Ganeshpuri. And I started reading books about him compiled by various Mahapurushas, by various great Gyanis and scholars. I learned a lot about his life. I learned the way how he lived his life was exactly in tandem with what he taught. But Bhagavan taught very little in form of words or teachings. His very life was his teaching. The way he conducted himself, the way he lived moment to moment was the greatest teaching for me in my life. And after I found him, I felt my search has ended. I still feel my search has ended. I'm complete, I'm fulfilled, and my sincere to all the fellow aspirants on the spiritual path, to all the brothers and sisters who are seekers, my experience just goes to say that to find the Guru, one need not go on this external search. Once you understand there are the fundamental concepts, the fundamental principles of Guru Tattva, that he is all pervading. One can be in the safe confines of their home and still connect oneself to the Guru. In fact, most of the direct disciples and Sishyas of the great Bhagwan, Avadhut Bhagwan Nityanandaji Maharaj, have met him physically have met him for very few times in their life. In fact, sometimes there has been no contact for decades or centuries, but still the Guru is always connected. The Guru is always connected with you, and this connection never ever ceases. It's just not limited to this one particular life or physical form. It's beyond what words and mind can conceive. So, yes, hold on to your Guru steadfastly and hold on to his lotus feet and surrender yourself completely, surrender your rational mind, your rational way of thinking, and experience the joy and the magic of the Guru's grace. May my sincere prayers that all of you achieve what you are looking for in the spiritual path. May the divine light of the Guru guide you on your path, and may you find solace, peace and spiritual liberation. Om Namo Bhagavate Nityanandaya.